G'day and welcome to the Choosing Your Uni podcast. My name is Rob Malicki. In today's episode, we're taking a look at what it actually takes to go back to university when you haven't been in a classroom for years, maybe even decades, and how to set yourself up so the transition doesn't completely overwhelm you. This episode draws on a session with Simone and a panel of current students from Australian Catholic University. That session was part of the Choosing Your Uni National Virtual Expo. You can find out more about the expo by visiting expo.choosingyouruni.com. Right, let's get into it. And I want to start with something one of the students said that I think cuts through all the glossy marketing you'll ever see about returning to study. Dara, a third-year paramedicine student who'd served in the army, put it bluntly. He said, if you think you're just going to rock up, sign up for uni and get a degree in a couple of years, you're in for a rude shock. I love that honesty, because it's the kind of thing that actually helps people make better decisions. So let's talk about what really matters if you're considering going back. The first thing worth understanding is that there are genuinely multiple doors into university, and a lot of people don't realise how many options exist beyond having an ATAR. If you finished year 12 ages ago, or you didn't finish at all, or you've been working and raising a family, there are pathways designed specifically for you. Foundation studies programs, for instance, can be completed in 1 or 2 semesters and lead directly into a degree without you having to reapply. There are diplomas that can transition you into the second year of a bachelor's. There's the STAT, which is an aptitude test that measures critical thinking rather than subject knowledge, so it doesn't matter if you've forgotten your year 12 chemistry. And there's even a veterans entry program that now extends to the families of current and former Australian Defence Force members. That's partners, spouses, and children. These aren't obscure backdoors. They're legitimate, well-supported pathways, and they exist because universities recognise that academic potential doesn't have an expiry date. Here's another thing that surprised me. There are close to 400 scholarships available at ACU alone, ranging from $1,000 up to $166,000. And here's the kicker. Many of them go unallocated every single year. People just don't apply. Whether that's because they assume they won't qualify or they don't know the scholarships exist, the result is the same. Free money sitting on the table. If you're considering any university, not just ACU, do yourself a favour and check what scholarships are available. The worst that can happen is they say no. Now, the second big insight from this session is about what the study experience actually looks like day to day, particularly for health-related courses. And this is where I think a lot of people get caught out if you're looking at nursing, midwifery, paramedicine, physiotherapy, or anything in allied health. You need to understand that these are practically intensive programs. You cannot do them entirely from your couch. Yes, there's online content. Yes, lectures might be delivered digitally, but the tutorials, the clinical labs, the placement hours, those are in person and they are non-negotiable. Midwifery, for example, requires 1,000 hours of clinical placement across 3 years. Paramedicine students are in labs, learning to cannulate, draw up medications, and perform procedures. The on-campus time varies by year, but in first year, you might be on campus 2 or 3 days a week, and then you've got travel time, parking, and all the logistics that go with it. If you're planning to work while you study, and most mature age students have to, you need to map this out before you enrol, not after. Which brings me to the third point, and it's the one I think is most valuable for anyone listening. The students in this session were remarkably candid about how hard it is to balance everything. One student essentially burned through savings in first year just to give study a proper go. Another, a parent, spent weeks before semester even started working out exactly how many hours she'd need on campus so she could build a timetable that accounted for her family. The consistent message was that time management isn't a nice-to-have skill, it is the skill. And here's a practical tip that came through loud and clear. If a semester feels too heavy, you can drop to part-time. Go from 4 units to 2 or 3. Yes, it extends your completion date, but it's far better than falling behind and spiralling. Just be careful with prerequisites. If you drop a unit that's required for the next one, you could accidentally block your own progress. The fourth insight is about the nuts and bolts of actually getting through your assignments, especially when you haven't written an essay in 15 years. One student admitted his referencing was atrocious in first year. He didn't discover tools to help format references until second year. He talked about breaking assignments into bite-sized pieces. A 1,000-word essay is really just a 100-word intro, a 100-word conclusion, and 800 words of body. When you frame it that way, it suddenly feels a lot less intimidating. He also made a point about building relationships with librarians, which sounds old-fashioned, but is genuinely one of the most underused resources at any university. Librarians can help you structure essays, find credible sources, and navigate databases. They're not just there to stamp books. And the fifth thing I want to highlight is the support infrastructure that exists and that a lot of students don't discover until they're already struggling. Academic skills units run workshops on essay writing, referencing, even refreshing your maths and English. There are proofreading services you can submit drafts to. There are mentors, there are career development teams, and critically there are casual jobs on campus that are designed to work around your study schedule. Multiple students mentioned that working on campus was a game changer because their employer already understood what their life looked like. The message here is simple: ask early, ask often, and don't assume you're supposed to figure it all out on your own. Look, going back to study as a mature age student is one of the bravest decisions you can make. It's also one of the hardest. But the students who succeed tend to share a few traits. They plan before they start. They access support early. They're honest with themselves about what they can realistically take on. And they're not afraid to ask questions, even when the questions feel basic. Every single person in that session said the same thing. Everyone is willing to help. You just have to put your hand up. If you'd like to explore your options further, check out the free resources at Choosing Your Uni. It's independent guidance designed to help you find the right path wherever that might lead. That's it for this episode. I'm Rob Malicki on Garrigal land in Sydney. Have a great day.